Welcome to NRL 360, rugby league from every angle, brought to you by Regain. Joining me again, the great Gordon Tallis.
Hey,
Bring the journos in, Paul Crawley and Dean Ritchie.
Gentlemen.
And Doggy. You've done it again.
What have I done this time?
Queensland are set to dominate grand final day. This was one of your columns.
Oh, right.
Back
this
in
is what you were
June.
talking about in the green room behind my back.
Yeah.
Right. Dark days for the Sunshine Coast. Did you ever happen to think that maybe I inspired Queensland to go to another level of excellence? Because at that very point, they were on their backsides, Gordon.
Were we?
Yes, you were. Look at the percentages.
It's sort of strange. You know how many New South Wales teams you have in the finals this weekend?
New South Wales Cup.
How many?
Warriors.
No.
Oh, the Warriors won it.
No. You know what? You got one.
Didn't you call them the biggest losers?
You got one. So
was that another article?
So,
you did?
Dog, I want you to buy a Roosters jersey, go out there and support.
Well, you know what? I won't be supporting Queensland sides because I don't want to support anyone where you came from. Because I don't respect you nor your state.
Wow.
They have been my nemesis for 40 years, that mob up north. And I think the Storm will win. Go the Storm.
NRLW too.
Oh,
NRLW.
Brisbane.
So where's Melbourne?
Victoria. That's down south. You're up north.
Yeah, right.
That's what it says on the map.
to play for, mate?
Melbourne Storm.
Is it bad you can't barrack for anybody from your own
Harry
state?
Grant.
I don't need that, Gordon. Rugby league's the win. Here's another one.
You said in the paper you don't know who to go for. Do you think that New South Wales fans are going to be a bit torn over this one?
I think they will, Braith. I speak to my mates and they're a bit 50-50. A lot of people don't like Melbourne Storm from the old days when they thought they wrestled too much. Success also brings a lot of people to the point where they get a bit exasperated. The Broncos, Queensland, etc. It goes on and on. It'll be split down the middle, but I think more people, will go for the Broncos because of the bloke with green eyes in the number 1 jersey.
I reckon on the contrary. I reckon for the first time in history, the Storm almost go in as the people's team because of the state of Brisbane and the fact that the Origin comes into the equation. I know Storm have got a few Queensland Origin players there. I truly believe most people who don't have their team in it will go for the Storm.
And even though there are no New South Wales teams in the grand final, it is officially sold out. That's huge, right?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I think it's just the style of footy. The final series, as I mentioned last night, it's the best that I've seen. So if this is any indication of where the finals are at, you think Melbourne and Brisbane.
It's funny you say that though, Gordon.
Should be an unbelievable game of rugby.
Because you played in a great era. Like a lot of old school journos like us go back to that 94 period as I remember that as I look back at that as the best era of rugby league. Yep. And you actually think that the game right now is better than it was at that point?
Well, you look at the Raiders, Brisbane, you look at even like when Penrith played the Bulldogs, that was still an unbelievable day. And just watching Penrith's dominance last Sunday was as good as any game of rugby league.
We said last night it's up there with one of the best final series to the grand final that we've ever seen. Do you guys agree with that?
And I think that's why, Braith, the crowd is sold out already. Yeah. You might not have your side in there. You might have bought tickets being a Raiders fan or a Panthers fan.
Some other fans will have.
But whoever has missed out, the fan will still go because of the standard. That's what's been
the standard of the football in that Raiders Broncos game really kicked it off, didn't it? And then last Sunday was the same. The Sunday before was the same. It's like the Sunday footy's had a lot to do with it.
I can confirm people are still searching for tickets because everyone's hitting me up, so there's none left. Okay, let's take a look at the grand final teams. Thanks to Sportsbet, and the Melbourne Storm are unchanged. Ryan Pappenhausen at fullback. We won't go through all of them. Cameron Munster, Jerome Hughes in the half. Stefano Utoi Kamanu has lit the fuse. Harry Grant, the captain there. In the number 9 jersey, Josh King, the other front row, and the bench is unchanged for Melbourne. Let's have a look at the Broncos. They have a change because Carrigan comes in, which I'll get to. Reece Walsh, fullback. What a player he has been this year. Ben Hunt and Adam Reynolds retain their spots in the halves. Pat Carrigan comes into the team after that suspension, and Ezra Mam is still on the bench after we spoke about it last night, which we'll get to soon. And Tyson Smoothie, he moves back to the bench, and Tolty is the man that is out. Now, Madge holds his nerve with Hunt at 6 and Mam on the bench. Is this the right call?
Oh, I think it is. I think, keeping Ezra away, from the first 20 minutes, he come on last week and it worked. They were a little bit tired, Penrith. He started to run the ball and I hated a running threat in front of me because they were so dangerous. So I think if it worked last week against the defending Premiers, well, why not try it again this week? Because it wasn't broken.
They've come back from 14-0 down in back-to-back finals. And I don't think that they can do it again. I think they need to start fast. I think to beat the Storm, they need to start fast. I would
So
still
what would
be
you have
not
done?
surprised.
What would you have done
I
then?
would have had Ezra in the
starting
six
team.
jumper,
Yeah, right.
and I would have had Ben Hunt in the 9.
You know what?
I think that's their best team.
It's a good point you make. It is a good point. It's hard to keep coming back, and that win would take a lot out of them. Even though that was amazing, and adrenaline, and the fans were pumped, and they've proven to themselves they can come back now, and they've done it so much this year. But it is hard to do it against Melbourne. Very hard to do it against Melbourne.
And especially 3 weeks in a row. And I think that, look, you didn't think Penrith would give up a 14-point lead. But to do it again, I think the Broncos are playing with such belief now that if they can start fast, they're also going to be hard to beat when they're on top.
You'd have to be insane to change your halves between the prelim and the grand final after you've just won a big game.
I just think that that's their best team.
It may well be, Crawls, but it's a 17-man game. Ezra was used so effectively off the bench last week, and he will be used effectively again this week. But to change your two halves who have set the standard during the final, in the week of the grand final, it would have been madness.
Doggy, I don't disagree with it, but there's an argument definitely to change it. And we just heard it, and it was a good argument. They only won by 2 points. They come from behind.
But it's one interchange.
But Gordon, you say it all the time. It wasn't broken, Brace, so why would you try to change a winning side?
I'm not saying they should. All I'm saying is that there's a fair argument there with the quality of play.
And I think also, like, let's call it for Ben Hunt, right, is a pretty good half. He's a great hooker. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
When he plays for the Queensland side, plays 9, mate.
Do you lose punch off the bench, though, if you start Ezra? Because Ezra was so good off the bench last week. You're going to,
It
it's all right to
made a
strengthen one
difference.
area, but you're going to weaken another area.
Of course. And that's
It made a difference. I just think from the comeback perspective, to try and do it 3 times in a row, you could see the game change when he came on the
Definitely.
field. The threat that he creates.
Could there be a late switch, you reckon?
No, I think there could be.
You never know. Bulldog? Have you spoken to Madge?
No, I haven't spoken to Madge this week, but I don't think he'll change anything. Braith. I think they were so good last week.
Yeah.
They're on such a high. Their spirits are up, their camaraderie's up, they're on a roll. He won't change anything.
Fair call. Now, Patrick Carrigan comes in, Ben Tolte, the one that misses out. This is the obvious one, right? But how good is it that he's back in Carrigan?
Yeah, I think, I thought he was going to be really missed, because he's the 1-2 punch with Payne has. But the Broncos forward did a great job. He's probably Brisbane's greatest number 13. So to have someone like that to come back in, big game player, you need him if they want to win.
He is. He's a big game player. Yeah. That's what Pat Carrigan is. He'll make such a difference. You've seen him do it in Origins. He goes on the field and he changes games. I think it's a massive lift for the Broncos.
I know we're going to talk about Haas later in the show, but what about him playing 80 minutes last week, essentially to cover for the loss of Carrigan? Just extraordinary.